Stream of consciousness. Let it fly. It is what it is. Fuck YouTube. Free thought. Maybe talking some truth, maybe talking some shit. Opinions that matter, opinions that don't even fucking matter. Well, there's only one way to sum this up. This YouTube channel, it's whatever. And that's the way I like it. Don't be scared. Just fucking build. You know, in my experience thus far in my life, the truth seems to be self-evident. The only times that the truth is difficult to see is if your judgment is compromised or when the truth is outright hidden by a layer of lies or secrecy. Now keep in mind that the truth of man and universal truths are different. Universal truth doesn't seem to change. It's pretty much the laws that keep this reality together, like law of entropy or first law of thermodynamics, etc. These universal truths do not seem to change at all. But when it comes to the truths of man are always subject to change because humans have the ability to change. Here's a human truth. Human beings are able to change the materials that make up reality. We're able to do that. That's how we're able to create things. You know, we conceive something, and then with our knowledge of atoms and quarks and, you know, all of these particles that we know of, we're able to use that knowledge and bring forth, conceive things into actual physical objects. We are quite godlike, but we're not gods. But that is a human truth. That's what we're able to do. However, the universal truth of time, all right, because we live within time, that universal truth makes sure that no matter what we create, no matter what we change, we cannot go back in any moment. What is done, even if it destroys us all. We cannot go back. That is the difference between human truth, which is subject to change, versus universal truth or the universal laws. Look at the human truth as the base, right? The foundation. You understand? The first thing established by a man or a woman, right? While the number before 1, the 0, is space, potential, nature, the universe, or if you prefer, God. These are universal truths. There's always levels, but break things down to the 1 and you'll learn how to figure out even some of the largest problems. Everything large starts off as small. For instance, voting, does it actually mean anything? Well, yes and no. What we have continually witnessed are politicians making half promises or telling outright lies in order to get elected. Now, once elected, they show their true nature, which is, I'm the president of a capitalistic government, meaning a government that puts capital over human lives. Now, what is capital? That is the wealth, whether in money or property, owned or employed in business by an individual, firm, or corporation. That's the definition of it. American government only cares about how much money you make or something you have of value that can be useful, i.e. intellectual property. This government was also established on murder and lies, broken promises as well. That is the human truth. So with that truth, we now have our foundation. We have our number 1. We have our base. We have used empirical evidence and the knowledge of history, which is the time served performing actions. That's history, in order to make a sound judgment. We can now take that judgment and trace it to every issue or action that comes after our established number 1. This is exactly why they're giving you weed. They do not want you to ever have sound judgment, because if you can have sound judgment, then you can piece together some shit. And if you can piece together some shit, you'll be able to actually flush it. You'll be able to get rid of it. Can't have that. But let me continue here. Break everything down to the 1. So we already have our established number 1, when it comes to the United States government. And this is a government that was established on murder and lies and broken promises as well. This is also a government, a nation that was established on might makes right. I am stronger than you. I defeated you, so I am right. That is breaking this government down to the one. So now you ask yourself, why are there so many criminals? Ultimately, why do Americans seem to revere criminals that outsmart the government? You know what I'm saying? Everybody likes that motherfucker. Like, oh man, he outsmart the government. That motherfucker smart as fuck, man. Yada, yada, yada. You know, why are there so many songs and advertisements that talk about material wealth? Why are people poor while others are just getting by? Why do we believe that success is measured in material wealth versus physical health? Because this is what we are governed to believe in. This country breeds millionaires and prints paper money. If you don't have money, then you're not actively out there getting it, because if bums can accumulate over $300 in change, maybe like every week, then that lets you know you ain't trying to work that hard. This is a capitalistic government. There's money printed every day. The money is everywhere. During a pandemic, they printed out extra fucking money. They said, here you go, take some more money. But never forget what it's established on. It's established on a conqueror's mentality. It's established on murder and lies. This government respects criminals. It respects people that are strong. It respects conquerors. Do you understand? This is why you see so many advertisements talking about bigger is better and more is better. That's a conqueror's mentality. I already won, but how do I get more? How do I take over the fucking world? Joe Biden, during his election campaign, said he was going to go after the Saudi prince who had a journalist killed and chopped up. Now, once elected, that same Joe Biden said that there would be no actions taken against the Saudi prince. Why? Because of money. Politicians are nothing but American employees. Their job is to work deals with other countries and play political theater. That's it. The true presidents of the country, and this country is capitalistic, are large corporations because they make the most money for America. So those companies are the bosses of those politicians that you voted for, just like the Saudi prince is the boss of Joe Biden. So when you vote, all you're doing is letting companies in charge know who you all will listen to. The company will then make sure that elected official is part of the quote-unquote family business, and thus will listen to instructions. Notice that any person who truly quote-unquote cannot be bought by the government is never elected. Meanwhile, millionaires and billionaires are rarely elected because not only can they not be bought, they can't be reasoned with. Politics means you gotta play ball or they won't let you play ever again. It all sounds so conspiracy, don't it? But it's not. There's books and editorials on lobbyists and their power all over the place. All you gotta do is read them. And don't get it twisted. Donald Trump is a millionaire or a billionaire, but at the end of the day, he still would like more money. You can't sit back and say you can't buy his services. He's a capitalist. He's going to do what makes him more money. No, the billionaire that truly cannot be bought is the one that realizes that I have all of this money and I don't need any more. The only thing that I want to do now is to use my money, my power, my influence for the service of humankind as the president of this United States. That motherfucker will never be elected. They might assassinate that motherfucker. So, well, the bottom line is, since we know that the number one truth of the United States is capital, money, individual wealth, we can also discern that the only legal way to impact things is by using money. Because we know voting is theatrics. We need to be lobbyists. We need these elected officials, or really government employees, on our team. Then you'll get the respect of a Saudi prince, or a Pfizer, or Amazon, or Google. You run it down the line. You want a politician's phone number, then you're going to have to show up at those $500 a plate dinner engagements. You're going to have to let them know who you are and show them how much money you have. Because if we break everything down to the one truth of America is capital. And everything after that number one truth, that number one human truth, is going to be affected buy it. That's how judgment is used, folks. When people try to trip you up with lies, if you can see what that number one is, break everything down to the one, then you'll know what the truth is. When the government or even the school system says, we want people to be smarter, ask them, why is our information limited? Why is our information censored? Why is there such a thing as being able to scrub Google to be able to take off things that are bad or what have you that would affect the business? Why are pieces of history hidden if they are in fact historical? Why are there books we will never read? Why is there a ghetto in every state in the United States, damn near? Because all of that shit works to keep this capitalistic machine going. Murder, lies, broken promises, division, tactics, all of that was used in establishing this country. That's how you break things down to number one. That's the human truth. Now, can the human truth change? Yes, because humans evolve. But we must not ignore what is still going on, folks. We can't judge a future because that's a fantasy, but we can judge our history and present. We can do that. And if we can judge it correctly, we can take steps to make some real changes. So now I hope you understand how important your consciousness, your judgment is, why you cannot allow it to be compromised under any circumstances. Have fun, love, and laugh, and experience joy and pain, adversity. All of that is life, folks. But try not to willingly alter your consciousness if you can help it. Speaking about drugs, the dangers of them, the psychedelic trips have their place, perhaps. But every responsible shaman knows that everyone, and this is the problem, everyone is not meant to take that journey. And so when you have a situation where a government is allowing all of its citizens access to weed or any other substance that will alter your judgment, your consciousness, or that lets you know that they're trying to make sure that you never know what's real, and that whatever's coming down the pipeline is going to be something so heavy that it's going to fuck up your high. And instead of facing that with a clear mind and a good conscience, no, you're going to run away and you're going to say, I can't deal with this. Where is my weed? I can't. And they want you saying I can't, because as long as you say that you can't, then you won't. And just like that, you're defeated. Remember how this country was established. Remember, don't forget, it's a setup, folks. And millions of Americans have fallen for it. I just hope you can pull out of it before it's too late for all of us.